I'm going to show you a picture of a zoomed in picture of a car, and you have to tell me what it is.
Okay, let's see what you got.
And this is a car that you definitely know.
What in the world? What is up with that hood?
That is not the hood.
Oh.
If you zoom out a little bit, you would know it instantly. It really narrows it down.
Yeah, I'm going to kick myself, but I don't know it.
I'll give you another hint. You really like this car. At least I thought you did.
Oh, that's a headlight because it's the Mitsubishi or the Toyota 2000 GT. That's a headlight.
Yep.
Oh, you're right. Because that's a pop-up headlight.
Mm-hmm. I do not understand why you like this car.
Yeah, I think it's so cool.
For a side profile, it looks great.
I think it's really cool.
This angle here.
You don't like the front end?
What am I even looking at? You didn't even know you were looking at. Welcome, everyone, to the Bose Bros podcast. I'm Mason.
I'm Jordan.
And today we're going to get started with our speed rounds.
Who's going first?
I'm going first with 20 questions.
Okay.
You have 20 questions to guess what car I'm thinking of. Yes or no questions. Go.
Okay. American market vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Is the MSRP above $100,000?
No.
Okay. Is it from the big three?
Yes.
Okay. Is it from Ford? Company. Umbrella of Ford.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Was it on sale in the early 2000s?
Define early 2000s.
Okay. Between 2000 and 2010?
Yes.
Okay. Is it still on sale?
No.
Well, how many am I at? 7?
6.
6. Okay. Is it from Mercury?
No.
Is it from Lincoln?
Yes.
Is it a Lincoln Blackwood?
No. You're talking about the truck?
Yeah.
Right. 2002? Yeah. No.
Is it an SUV?
No.
Is it a Lincoln MKZ?
No.
Is it a sedan?
No.
Not the one truck they made, not a sedan, and not an SUV.
One of those things is false. And if you don't realize that, you're not going to get it.
They made another Lincoln truck? Oh. Was it the Lincoln version of the Ford Escape Sport Track? Was there one of those?
No.
Yeah, you might have stumped me on this one.
You know what it is. I think you may be thinking...
Too hard about it?
Incorrectly think this is one vehicle when in fact it's two. I don't know if that cleared anything up.
No, that was clear as mud. That didn't give me anything. So it's not an SUV. It's not a sedan. It's not a Lincoln Blackwood. Did they make another truck? Is the question.
Are you asking me that?
Did they make another truck?
Yes.
What other truck did they make? They made a later F-150 version, but it wasn't called the Blackwood. I don't know what it was called.
Are you guessing that's what it is?
Yes.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay, I just don't know what it was called.
It's the Lincoln Mark LT.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get the Mark LT.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very lightly rebadged F-150.
Yeah. So I have some cousin cars for you, and they go from maximum effort to minimum effort in rebadging. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 2006, 2008. Not very...
I remember I've seen these, and the bed rails are what stick out.
The bed rails and the taillights are the same, but they like encroach on the tailgate a little bit for the Lincoln.
Yeah.
Didn't sell too well, except in Mexico. It was the best-selling Lincoln.
Really?
Consistently.
Well, I mean, that's not a high bar.
Enough that Mexico got a second generation
Oh, really?
Mark LT. Whereas...
Wow, that grill's really bad.
It was their design language at the time.
Yeah.
They're like swooping. I didn't know that until I was researching this, but they actually got a second generation, and we didn't.
Wow.
Went from 2010 to 2014.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good for them. I mean, so many of those industries or so many of those markets, it's worked out where they just up badge something and people buy it because it's fancier. And for whatever reason, it never happened with pickup trucks. So they just made the base brand more fancy over time.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Ready, set, go.
Is it an American manufacturer?
Yes.
One of the big three?
Yes.
In the last 20 years?
No.
Before the year 2000?
Yes.
Before the year 1990?
Yes. Are you asking when it stopped production or when it started production?
Was it on sale still? I take it it's older. So was it still on sale in the 90s?
No, and I won't count on that one against you, just for clarification.
Okay.
So you're at 5.
So it was on sale. Was it on sale in the 80s?
Yes.
It was on sale in the 80s. Okay. And it was from the big three, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Ford umbrella.
Yes. 7. I'll say it was on the sale in the 80s only technically.
Okay. So it came out in the 70s.
Its last model year was 1980.
Okay. Would it be considered an economy car?
Yes.
Made in response to the oil crisis?
Yeah, but everything after 73 was.
2 doors?
Yes. Well, yes. It's a 3-door, but yeah.
Okay. So it was a hatchback?
Yeah.
Hatchback. Was it a Pinto?
It is a Pinto.
Yeah.
Which they don't look as bad as I remember. But
kind of has a little bit of Mustang 2 in the front.
A little bit. The back's pretty bad.
Yeah.
The rear end's not favorable. But yeah, they were famous for catching on fire.
Oh.
I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
But yeah, like the section on Wikipedia about them catching on fire is quite large. They had fuel system issues. The bumper would crush into the fuel tank in the back and immediately cause leaks. So regular rear end crashes would often lead to fires. So yeah, bad design. And what they did was they just kept selling it.
Nice.
It came out in 1971. It had a cousin car that I didn't want to include here, called the Mercury. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it. Well, whatever. It wasn't that important. It came out in 73 to 80. This was 71 to 80.
Okay.
But yeah, eventually they stopped selling it because people kept catching on fire and dying. But
Details.
as they do.
You didn't put 20 questions between this one and the next one, so I just
Correct.
saw the next one behind you.
Okay. Did you see what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I saw enough of the color to know, was it
What
90 Buzz?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Colleague of mine just got hers.
Oh, really? She loves it?
Loves it. Everyone's taking pictures, asking her questions about it. She's like the third person in the state to get it. She's been on a big waiting list for it, as some people have for maybe decades.
Is she 70 plus years old?
No, she's middle-aged. Not even middle-aged, maybe 30s, 40s.
Because I went to a dealership and I saw one of these in person. I got some pictures of it. Probably should have included those. But yeah, it was great. And it was really nicely appointed. Everything inside looked really nice. The fit and finish, all the panels fit really, it's just from passing impressions, it looked nice. And I asked the guy, are these hard to sell? I know they're really expensive. And he's like, no. We've gotten 3 this week, and they're first 3, and they've sold before we even really got to put plates or stickers or anything on them.
Jeez.
He said, we bought this one in particular to be in the showroom to get people to come inside. But someone showed up to buy it before we even got it into the showroom. And I was like, weird. What else? Is there anything that stood out to you about people that are buying them? He's like, well, only people over 70 have bought them.
I mean, it's a sample size of 3.
Exactly. But I wouldn't think the cross section between people that are over 70 and wanting an electric car.
They are old enough to remember when that thing was new.
I mentioned they were probably high in the back of one. The original.
40 years ago.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So I've got another 20 questions for you.
Okay.
All right. So 20 questions. The picture's behind me, so try not to look over my shoulder.
Okay.
Ready, set, go.
Is it a European vehicle?
No.
Does it have less than 300 horsepower?
Yes.
You said that emphatically, so...
Yes.
Okay. You said no, not European?
Not European.
Is it sold in the European market?
I believe it was eventually, yeah.
So underpowered is an American vehicle?
It is.
American vehicle may be sold, made after the year 2000?
No.
Okay, so not really going to ask about price because of inflation. It'll not really make as much sense. American vehicle. Would you consider it an economy car?
That's a tough one to answer. I'm going to say yes, and I'll explain my answer when we're done.
Yes. Okay.
So you're at 6.
2 doors?
Yes.
Oh. I want to guess something, but I don't think I have enough information yet.
You got 13 more guesses, man. Go for it.
Guess the car?
Yeah.
DeLorean?
No.
Ah.
That is not an economy car.
I didn't think so either, but you hesitated, and you laughed when I said under 300 horsepower, and you said maybe it was eventually sold in Europe. So, okay. So
Okay. I mean, that did somewhat fit if you disregard the economy part. But yeah.
I know, but...
Don't let my answer confuse you.
Okay.
Just go with yes.
So not a DeLorean. Okay. From the big 3?
Yes.
Okay. From Chrysler Group?
No.
From GM?
No.
Something Ford made.
You got 9 questions.
Yes,
left.
an economy car, but not quite. Wasn't efficient?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, efficient in what way?
Like gas mileage? Wasn't like marketed as being an efficient vehicle?
No.
No. Okay.
You'll get a lot further asking about when it came out.
After the year 1950?
No.
Oh. I mean, my knowledge of cars before 1950 is pretty scant.
You're at 13.
I mean, I don't even have enough. I don't know enough cars from before 1950 to fill 7 more guesses. So, Model T?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah. Ford Model T.
Is that a... No, it's got a trunk. Okay.
It's Ford Model T. You know what? Henry
Economy
Ford.
car?
Yeah. It was the car that made it economical to purchase a vehicle in the first place.
I guess that's fair.
That's why I was like, eh. But do you know what Henry Ford said when people asked him about color options?
I mean, I assume it only came in black.
Well, he said they could have any color they want, as long as the color they want is black.
You get yellow rims.
Yeah, and you know what's really cool? I went to the Ford museum where they built these, or Ford plant where they built these, and they currently build F-150s. And everything on this was built there. The rims were smelted in a forge there.
Wow.
It's
like Tesla level.
The engine block. They would literally get iron ore and smelt the iron ore and make the steel on site.
If you can do that logistically, that's when you're going to save the most money.
Yeah, they managed to. They would get raw iron ore in, and the wooden crates that they would ship things to different parts of the factory in. Once these parts got to the end of the production line, they saved the wooden crates and they used that wood as the inlay on the dashboard and everywhere else.
Wooden crates and iron ore in, and Model T's coming out.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Watching
see globalization has made it so it sometimes is just more efficient to have someone else who has either the know-how or the localization, like they just have the resources close by, or the manufacturing scale to do it and then buy the parts from them.
Right. Someone who makes 1,000 headlights a minute is going to be better at it than you.
Is it better if you're starting a company to try to spend $1 million R&Ding a headlight, or...
We'll talk about this later, actually.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool that they did...
They did everything, soup to nuts. They had raw ore in and Model T's out. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. You got another one for 20 questions.
Okay. American car.
No.
European car.
Yeah.
Was it sold in America, United States?
I'm not going to count that against you because I don't know.
Okay, so it's not a super well-known car, because if it was,
I would know
if it was sold here or not.
Okay, I guess that gave you information, so I'm going to count against you.
No.
No? Okay. You're at 2.
Well, fine. It's also not a very common car, I take it.
It's not a common car. 3.
Fine. From the UK?
Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That was narrowed it down quite a bit.
Yeah. From a big UK brand, like a common, one of the brands that's still around today making vehicles?
Yes.
Okay. From Rover?
No.
Lotus?
No.
MG?
Nope.
Jaguar?
Nope.
Okay. Sold in the 20th century?
Yes.
How many questions is that?
10.
Was this considered a sports car?
It had more sporting intentions, but I don't think it was designed for that.
Was it exotic?
Yes.
Would it be considered a collector's item now?
Yes.
Did it have a V8?
No.
More than 300 horsepower?
If it did, not by much.
What am I at, 16?
15.
I don't even know what the brand is yet.
Yeah, you're going to have to figure that one out.
This isn't a question, but would I know this brand?
Yes.
I do know this brand. Okay.
That was a question.
It wasn't. 'Cause if you know I don't know this brand, then why are we doing this car?
Yeah, exactly. The idea is to get something that you should know.
I should know, exactly.
But obscure enough that you might not think of it.
Yeah, right on the edge.
That's the fun. Because I can name a Chinese market car that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
And then what
like
fun
that
is
Lincoln truck. I know you know that truck.
Yeah.
You may not know the exact name, but
Yeah. That was like right. That was perfect zone.
I would know this. What is left? And you said they're still making cars today.
Oh, yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom,
Okay, it's an Aston Martin.
16.
What? I didn't ask a question. Okay, so it's considered an exotic. Oh, is it that Lagonda, whatever it is?
It is an Aston Martin Lagonda.
Yeah.
You didn't ask about door count.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 4 doors.
It is 4 doors. The Lagonda is 4 doors. You know what's crazy? Is that's a V12.
Wow.
And it's a I'm blanking. I'm pretty sure it's a dry sump V12. I don't know if you know what that means. A wet sump is that the oil pan is below and then the crankshaft spins through it and then that's what pumps the
oil up
yeah,
to the
and
top.
then it splashes the oil around, right? And then the oil pump sucks from underneath. Mm-hmm. A dry sump engine has the oil somewhere else like a coolant reservoir. So that the engine can sit lower in the car, and then it pumps the oil from the sump that's away from the engine. So I'm pretty sure this is a dry sump V12, so that it can be lower. Because if you squat and put your elbows on your knees, you are still looking down on the hood. This is a deceptive picture. The top of that grill is about at my kneecaps.
There's a V12 under there.
And there's a V12.
Wow.
It's super low.
Dang, that's pretty cool.
It is.
I only would have guessed that car because I saw it when I was looking up wedges, and I was like, I don't know if that counts as a wedge. And then you had guessed it in a previous one for some other car we were doing.
Let me check something really quick. Oh, my phone's over there. I want to know. I'm pretty sure that one was designed by Giorgetto Cicciaro, our favorite made-up character. I'm pretty sure it was the same guy.
You're going to like one of our upcoming shorts.
Oh, yeah? Is it all about Giorgetto Cicciaro? And did you misspell it every time?
No, but I may have put you saying it in there more times than you
actually. Then I actually said it. Because I said it like 5 times.
Answer of various questions.
Oh, jeez.
All
okay.
Right. Next one. Guess that car.
Do you have any of these?
This is mine for you.
Okay. Let's see.
So I'm going to show you a picture of a zoomed in picture of a car, and you have to tell me what it is.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
And this is a car that you definitely know. But do you know it well enough?
What in the world? What is up with that hood?
I asked the same thing.
Is the BMW Isetta? Because it looks like it's vertical. Or is that just...
That is not the hood. Well, okay. Are you talking about this line here?
Yeah.
That's not the seam around the hood.
Oh. The headlights don't narrow it down because those were the stock standard headlights for a very long time, for like 20 years, for anything sold in the U.S.
If you zoom out a little bit, you would know it instantly. It really narrows it down. Those headlights. I understand the 7-inch. Yeah, that doesn't, but everything else should be giving it away.
Yeah, I'm going to kick myself, but I don't know it.
I'll give you another hint. You really like this car. At least I thought you did.
Oh, that's a headlight because it's the Mitsubishi or the Toyota 2000 GT. That's a headlight.
Yep.
Oh, you're right. You're right because that's a pop-up headlight.
Mm-hmm. I do not understand why you like this car.
Yeah, I think it's so cool.
For a side profile, it looks great.
I think it's really cool.
This angle here,
You don't like the front end?
What am I even looking at? You didn't even know you were looking at.
Okay, yeah, you zoomed in on the corner of one. Yeah, I that was close enough that it absolutely, like, had you gone out anymore, you're right, I would have gotten it right away. I'm like, what is this, a bus? Like, what? Yeah, the 2000 GT. The inside of that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Every single piece hand turned. Every component. Like, they took pieces of wood from the same tree, so the grain pattern matches from one panel to the next. Like, just gorgeous.
I was like 68, right? Something like that.
I don't even remember, but
68. Imagine telling someone, yeah, I drive a Toyota from the 60s. What they're picturing in their mind.
yeah. Meanwhile, the last one sold was $5.5 million.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
All right, ready for your next one?
Yeah. Had you zoomed in on like the wing mirror, that would have been a dead
You
giveaway.
knew that'd be like a JDM vehicle.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, no, I think I picked the right spot to zoom in on.
Yeah.
All right.
This one yours?
Yep, for you.
That is a TVR Cigars.
You got it.
Yeah. Are you impressed?
Yeah.
Did you think I would get that one is the question.
I knew you knew about that car because you guessed that when I showed you a
The
Viper.
Yeah. Yeah, the TVR Cigars. Yep. Do you know what's crazy? Do you know how to open the door on that?
Mm-mm.
There's no door handle, and you don't open it with a key fob.
Did you just reach in the inside and do it?
No, if the window's up, what do you do? You can actually see it in this picture. There's a button under the wing mirror you push.
TVR is such a wacky...
Oh, yeah. Freaking weird. And then to open the door to get out, it's a button in the center console.
I
Why?
hate that.
Why? But yeah, you push the button on the wing mirror, and then it goes boop, and then you can open it. But TVR, known to have really bad electronics. So more than one occasion, people have been stuck in their cars.
Do you know what... just to double down on the weirdness of TVR, you know what TVR stands for?
No.
If you took a wild guess, what do you think it stands for?
Trade variables renaissance. I don't know.
Racing, maybe.
Yeah, racing. I don't know.
You'd think it's an acronym or something.
Yeah.
It's just the founder's first name shortened. You just take the vowels out.
Really?
His name's Trevor. That's it. That's all it is. That's it. Just Trevor. Just Trevor.
Not Trevolier or something like it. Just Trevor.
Trevor.
It just makes me think of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Just Trevor.
TVR. That's what it is. It's not an abbreviation. It is an abbreviation. It's not an
Trevor Industries or whatever.
Yeah, Trevor Phillips Industries. Yeah.
Trevor Phillips Enterprises changes every time. Oh man.
Trevor.
Look how weird that hood is too, with that gap on the side.
Does that like mechanically open and close? It looks like it does.
And I don't know.
Both of these, they look like they both. Like this one looks slightly
It
ajar.
wouldn't shock me. And I know that it would work for about 30 seconds before they fell apart.
Not being known for having great electronics, they are really ambitious with motorizing.
Oh my gosh,
things.
everything, yeah. They're also like crazy powerful and super lightweight. That thing is about the size. It's a little bigger, but about the size of my Miata. And they're crazy for. And also, a lot of them don't have like traction control, stability control. They're like borderline built in a shed. They don't have any of these fancy electronics that will keep you on the road.
Jeez.
They're basically, Jeremy Clarkson described it as riding a lion. It's really fun, but you know it wants to kill you.
That's cool. That's kind of what you want in an exotic, though.
Yeah.
All right, ready for the next one?
Yep. That is a C6 Corvette. A Ferrari 430.
Close. I'll give you
F50.
F50.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have given that to me. It's an F50.
I clicked it before. I was like, oh, he knows it. I was like, oh, wait, no, he doesn't.
Ferrari, yeah.
F50.
Yeah, it's weird when they did that where it was like they initially designed it to have pop-up headlights and they're like, oh crap, we can't do that.
Well, it was like just kind of going out of style too.
Yeah. And then they just decided we'll just body color the inside of the headlight.
Doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to guess.
Was it the C5 that did that, not the C6? I can't remember.
Yeah, C6 was the first one that didn't have the pop-ups.
Yeah. No, C5. C5 didn't have pop-ups, did it?
C4 was the boxy one that Grandma had. C4 still had pop-ups. It was melted cheese 90s era. Still had pop-ups.
She had a few. She had a few C3s and C4s, but yeah.
But then C6 was early 2000s. They finally did away with it. Yeah. All right. Guess this car by the zoomed in picture.
I immediately think Lamborghini.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Revuelto. Is it a Lamborghini?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is maybe my favorite part of this car.
This isn't an anus, is it?
No.
The Lamborghini anus?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I should know. Is it the new one? It's the new smaller one, not the Revuelto, but the smaller one.
It is the smaller one, but not the new one.
Oh, is it a Huracan?
It's a Huracan.
Oh, how did I never notice that before?
I love this.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from the side, it like comes out. Like the haunches on the back are really pronounced.
How did I never notice that behind the rear, the back window?
I think it looks so good. It's such it's exotic and aggressive, but elegant. I don't know. I just love that portion of the car.
Yeah. Looks
cool.
good.
Yeah, it does.
I don't like how quickly the nose dives down. I like a slightly longer nose, but that's just me. But besides that, I think it's great.
Yeah. All right, next one. Guess the car by the zoomed in picture.
That's a Lotus Elise.
Very good. 2007 Lotus Elise. All right. And how about this one?
It's a 2017 Ford GT.
All right. Well, those were easier. Yeah. That's another angle that I absolutely love.
The flying buttresses. So cool. It makes the car really feel more like a race car. It almost feels like an open wheel style when you have huge parts of the car that are just gone in the middle.
So cool.
The aerodynamics around that, so cool. It's really, really awesome.
Great looking car. All right. Now I think these are for me.
All right. Guess that car from the zoomed in picture.
That is a Tesla. Yeah? Yes?
Which one?
Is it the revised Model 3 or is
it is the revised Model 3. Right. I thought I might trick you by making it look like it goes straight down and not.
Yeah.
But
my neighbor has one, so.
Oh, okay. So
I've seen it, yeah.
Seen it enough. Okay. Next one. Good job.
Is that a Supra?
Nope.
Toyota Supra? No. Is it a Lexus?
Yeah.
I don't get it from that. No. I don't know. The ISF Speed. No. Is it their two-door?
Mm-hmm.
Is it that? Oh, what is it? RC 500?
SC 500.
500. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
SC 500.
It's what the picture, the first picture of the Tesla made me think of, with the taillights that sort of dive over the edge.
Nice. Not a bad looking car.
Yeah. By the way, I got the exact same picture of all four cars that I included.
Oh, nice.
So go ahead.
Is that the Jimny?
It is a Suzuki Jimny.
Yeah,
Way to go.
Surprised I got that?
Yeah. Because that's actually the only taillight. It's not on the body at all, which I find weird.
I noticed that, which is what I knew. Thought that was interesting. It's like not even quite wide enough to have taillights on the body.
Yeah. Yep, Suzuki Jimny.
Those walls have to be paper thin.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's zero chance that survives any kind of safety test.
All right, keep going. That's not a Tesla?
No.
That's the Volvo. Polestar.
Mm-hmm. We're not talking about the magic unicorn kind of Polestar.
I've never thought of it that way until you said that. Jeez. Polestar 2.
Yep. Again, I was like, that looks just like the shape is very similar
to the Tesla.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, way to go. You got all those.
Awesome.
Good job.
All right. Blind ranking. Okay.
I don't have any of these for you.
Rank these cars 1 to 5 without knowing what comes next. The category is 2005.
Oh, Mustang GT is going to, or Ford GT is going to be on here.
Maybe. So all these cars were available for sale in 2005.
Yeah.
Ferrari F430.
It's cool. It was really cool because it was like the Ferrari, the entry-level Ferrari when I was a kid. So I actually got to see some of those.
It's on the cover of Project Gotham Racing.
Yeah. It was.
Maybe that was the Enzo, but...
Yeah. And I wouldn't call it like pretty, but it's striking. Is this like how much I'd like to have it, or is this like a... What am I grading this on?
Whatever you want. What do you want to grade?
The one that gets the best gas mileage? Like, which one I would most like to have?
None of these cars are going to do well.
Which one I'd most like to have?
Yeah.
Just
ignore like cost of ownership. And
yeah, I'm gonna say 4. I'm just never been like that deeply into the Ferrari camp, unless we're talking about the 458, which is amazing.
All right.
Ooh, Carrera GT. I'm gonna call that like a 2.
2. Okay.
Oh wait, no, 3.
3. Okay. Veyron.
I thought that came out in 08.
2005.
Really? Okay. I put that as a 2. Carrera GT is a 3.
It's funny how tall and kind of awkward it looks now.
Compared to the new ones, yeah.
Out. Like it almost looks like this is going to be sacrilege. It kind of looks like a Beetle.
Yeah, it does. It does look Beetle-ish.
The new
Not like a VW Beetle, like an actual Beetle.
I mean, I was talking about the VW Beetle, which does look like a Beetle, but like it's so bulbous.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is just kind of awkward now, but yeah, okay. So you said 2 for that?
I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
Number 1.
Yep.
Ford GT. I would so take one of those. Oh my gosh. Oh man, that's got to be my 5? That's got to be 5?
Yeah.
V8 Vanquish. V8 Vantage.
Yeah. No, that's the...
Is it the DB8?
DB9. DB9.
DB9 wasn't out in 2005, was it? I thought it was DB8 back then.
I think this was new for 2005. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Yeah. They all look so similar. It's hard to tell the difference. You have to be like an expert or like really well versed in Aston Martins to know the difference.
So it's either the DB8 or DB9.
DB8, DB9, DBS, Vanquish, Vantage.
The Vantage looks different enough. I can tell the difference.
Yeah, I can't. But they're all gorgeous.
Very pretty.
Even
by today's standards, it's still a very good looking car.
I mean, by today's standards, they look even better because...
That's fair.
Yeah, just looking at that.
Not a lot of cars have that shape anymore.
No. The grill is not absurd. Yeah.
It almost looks small now.
Yeah.
Such number 5 then, huh?
Yes. Even though I think it's probably the best looking vehicle ever. Aston Martin was making the best looking cars ever.
And there's not like, oh, this angle's good, but the back's not good. Like every angle on these cars looks so good.
Heart-meltingly beautiful.
And the way the doors just barely come up.
Dove wing doors, yeah.
It's like the epitome of just like...
Or no, swan wing doors.
Yeah, like exotic, but not like Lamborghini outrageous, but still special.
And not going to attract the same amount of attention as a Lamborghini.
Right.
I wouldn't drive a Lamborghini, but I would drive one of those.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. All right. Blind ranking.
Okay.
Rank these 5 cars without knowing what comes next. The category is Chrysler concepts.
Ooh.
These are all Chrysler concepts, which they like to make more concepts than they do actual cars these days. But rank these in order of which ones you wish made it to production.
Okay. All right.
So 1 being I really want this car to make it to production.
Okay.
All right. First one. Chrysler Airflow.
It's supposed to. It's supposed to make it to production.
I mean, so were all of these at one point.
No, some of them are really just designs.
Just like thought pieces, kind of.
Or supposed to just introduce a design language, get people excited. This one was legitimately supposed to hit production. But at this point...
Chrysler may not be around.
Chrysler may not be around long enough to even make that
there's
car.
News on that, so we'll wait for that.
Yeah.
So what do you rank it, 1 to 5? How much do you care about this making it to production?
I think it's cool. I think it would be good for Chrysler to have more than just a minivan to sell. So I would really like it to make it to production, especially if it had NACS charging and not CCS. I'm going to put that as a 3.
3. Okay.
Ooh.
This is the Chrysler Firepower concept.
Which is basically a Viper, right?
It's a Chrysler Viper with a Hemi engine. Hemi V8. Awkwardly, a less expensive Viper,
Really?
I mean, it was luxury, but also didn't need to have that V10 in there. It had the 6.1 liter
This looks like they were copying Cadillac's homework.
with the XLR.
No, with the Cadillac 16.
Yeah.
But the Cadillac 16's hood, I feel like, was maybe a
But you could
foot
still,
longer than that.
like, you just take the silhouette, like, that's very much a Dodge Viper.
Yeah, with how sharply the windshield dives down.
And, like, how far back you're sitting.
Yeah.
So, how badly do you wish that made it?
That's pretty cool, and I'd love to see some of those driving around, but I don't know that I would ever be behind the wheel one. I'm going to say that's a 4.
4?
Mm-hmm.
ME-412.
Yeah.
Was their 12-cylinder.
I don't care about that one.
Really?
I think it's cool. I think it would be cool if it was made, but it's not a car I would ever be able to own or interact with, and I don't think it would have changed the needle at all for Chrysler.
Nobody
would ever
cost
buy
like
it.
$250,000.
Nobody would ever buy it. I think it's probably better that it didn't get made, because it would be Chrysler dumping a bunch of money into something that would never get the money back.
Yeah.
So I would say
it
5.
might excite people the way the Ford GT did. It's not like they were going to make a ton of money off the Ford GT, but it was like...
No, but it did. Yeah, the Ford GT stirred up interest, that's for sure. But the I don't know. Looking back, it's hard. It's hard to stir up interest in Chrysler 2001.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, the 300 did a great job.
that's true, but that was an
car, yeah.
attainable car. That was supposed to be a Mercedes killer,
It looked like a Bentley at the time.
Yeah, it totally did. But the reason it could even be a Mercedes killer is because Mercedes was at a pretty low point in the mid 2000s.
Yeah. So what do you rank that?
I'm gonna say 5.
Wow. All right. Halcyon.
This one is so far from being a production vehicle.
It just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it may
What
as
if
well
they did
be.
make it? What if it looked like that?
I mean, sure.
You wouldn't care.
I look at how giant that windshield is, and the windshield goes all the way down. I don't know. It looks a little awkward with the. I don't know. It seems like it shouldn't have really gotten off of the first sketch. Have you ever seen those, like, this is what this first sketch turned into? In like the really early sketches, they're all like really striking and really exaggerated. It looks like they just took that and didn't
First
really
pass.
Yeah, it didn't have any refinement after that. They're like, you know what, just do it.
Yeah. They're like, we'll take that. Yeah.
So I guess that's a 2 because I took up
So
3,
your number
4.
1?
What's number 1? Is it the 1998 Dodge Charger concept?
These are Chrysler specifically.
Oh, Chrysler specific. Okay.
All of them. So Imperial.
Oh, that. I'm cool with that.
People really liked this concept. And the doors opened, the front one normal, and the back one suicide.
That's the. When you think of Chrysler, you're thinking of big American luxury brand, right? And if you're going to have a Halo car, maybe that does cost the same as that other one, and no one's buying a $250,000 Chrysler. But maybe this does cost a lot more than, what was it, the MP?
ME-412, I think.
Yeah. So this might cost the same as much as the one named after a printer, but that is what I think of with classic Chrysler. I think a big, fat
American,
luxury.
The big old V8 under the hood.
Yes. Or even a V10. Yeah. A big, that I would love. I don't mind that being my number 1. I would love to see something like that.
It's like almost SUV sized. You look at it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the wheel of Rolls Royce next to the wheel of like a regular car? The tire and wheel setup would fit fine on a truck. And then like you put like a Nissan wheel next to it and it's barely over half the height of the center axles. They're giant.
This is for you. I don't have any of these.
All right. So cousin cars. I ordered these from maximum effort to minimum effort. So this is, when you look at this first car, you're going to go, okay, this thing is sharing a platform with the next one, but just know that there was a lot of changes between the two vehicles.
Okay.
All right. So cousin cars, you have to look at the car and guess what car is its cousin.
All right.
Go for it.
The Wagoneer.
Jeep Wagoneer S.
Wagoneer S. Is there going to be a Durango S? No. No, that's the Grand Cherokee. Is this a car that's currently out?
It is coming out for 2025.
Is it an American market car? Have I even heard of this?
Yeah. Well, what think of the drivetrain?
Well, it's all electric. Is it Stella Large?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it the Charger?
Yep.
Oh gosh, I didn't know that.
That's what I said. That and that are on the same
platform.
Yep.
Still a large.
Which means potentially you could get an 800 volt architecture in that with the Banshee propulsion system.
How much does that thing weigh?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. If they manage to make the Charger weigh as much as a Moon, how much does the SUV on the same platform weigh? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's funny. It's still large.
Yeah. All right. So that is the Dodge Circuit.
Did they use a Tesla Roadster?
Yep.
They did?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
And the Tesla Roadster is cousin car too.
The Lotus. Do we go to the next one?
Yep.
Lotus Elise. I like I use the same color.
Yeah, same color.
I think that's the Exige, actually.
No, that's the second generation Elise.
It wasn't the Exige?
Maybe I'm wrong.
But it's just like that.
Same
formula.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the Elise. Then Tesla threw out 85% of the parts and made the Roadster, which why did they even bother?
I mean, they probably didn't start out with those intentions, but you need to start somewhere.
Right.
Especially
and then
if you're
Dodge took that circuit.
So
right.
Is there a single piece
left on the Dodge circuit?
In this circuit that came from...
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe like a door handle or something.
Yeah.
All right. Lexus, I don't even know what this is.
The Lexus LC400.
So it would have been a Toyota? Is that what it is? A Toyota something?
Well, it's yes, except this one has a V8.
That has a V8 right there?
4-liter V8 with 250 horsepower.
It's only 2 doors.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Toyota 2 doors? Well,
mm-hmm.
Is it a Supra?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
That generation Supra.
Gen 3 Supra. Or Mark 3 Supra. Yeah. The Supra did not have a V8.
But I assume it would have fit.
Probably. Yeah. So as you could tell, maximum effort at the beginning from the Grand Cherokee to the Charger. And then we have the Circuit to the Roadster to the Elise. And then this one, still a good amount of effort. Body style is totally different, but you can see the same wheelbase. Mm-hmm. Doors are probably the same length, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Absolutely minimum effort.
I immediately thought that was a Saturn Sky, but it's a Opel.
Opel GT.
Okay. Opel GT, and then Saturn Sky / Pontiac Solstice.
Yeah. So that's one. Go back. Absolutely minimal effort. Effectively zero effort.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a different engine to pass different emission regulations in Europe.
Maybe. It needs a bigger license plate bracket on the front.
Yeah.
That's about it. A different badge.
Yeah, but even just like the silver across the middle, like of the grill, it's just, that's the same car.
Yeah. Honestly, not a bad looking car.
I've always been a fan of how the Saturn Sky looked. I wish they got the GXP version for the Sky, but you can only get the GXP in the Solstice.
Saturn doesn't strike me as like a performance brand.
No. Saturn doesn't strike me as a brand.
Thinking back, it was kind of an odd choice to make a Saturn version of that.
Instead of like a Camaro.
Yeah, like a...
Because this is in between
Chevy.
when the Camaro went out of production and when it came back.
Yeah, not even just a Chevy Sky or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saturn seems like a weird... Saturn always struck me as like the Volvo, like safety oriented.
Really? It always struck me as like the... If a Chevrolet is too expensive, you get the Saturn.
Even still, why... We want to make a counterpart to the
Solstice. Which is in this very narrow market of 2-door sports cars.
Right. Why go with
Saturn?
Yeah. They had...
Pontiac was the performance brand.
Yeah, and Chevy used to have some performance vehicles.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why I went with it, but I like the way that one looks. I saw one the other day that was black with all red accents, like that silver part around the windshield was red, the wheels were red, which normally I don't like colored rims, but it worked. It's like a darker red.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good looking car. All right. Quiz time.
You got some quiz questions for me?
I do.
All right.
What is the oldest car still being produced?
Now, this is not the oldest badge. This is the oldest vehicle still...
In a generation.
Okay. And this is on sale in the U.S. market?
I believe anywhere. Yeah, but...
It is on sale in the U.S. market.
It is on sale in the U.S. market.
Okay.
You can give a few guesses. I listed the top 10, so I want to see if you can guess the first one. But so this car is on. You can buy it today, and it's been unchanged since some point in time. Which one's been?
You mean not even a refresh?
The manufacturer still considers it a single generation.
Okay, so maybe it has a backup camera now.
Maybe different headlights, taillights, that kind of thing. But doors the same, platform.
I know the Mitsubishi Mirage has been the same for a long time.
Don't look. Mitsubishi Mirage is number 9, 2013. So going on 11 years now. And this is on sale as of the end of this year. So starting next year, some of these are going to fall off the list.
Dodge Durango.
Dodge Durango's on there. Dodge Durango's
Number
actually
7.
2010.
Yes. Is that number 7?
Number 5.
Number 5. Okay. So something's been on there longer. So it's from 2009 or earlier.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you number 1. As you get closer to number 1, you're starting to split hairs. Number 1 is far and away way older than everything else.
Because Logan said the original Volkswagen bus is still on sale in some places.
I don't think it is anymore. It wasn't on my list.
Okay. Jeez. Is it from a brand I would have known?
Oh, yeah. The remainder of the top 4 are cars you should absolutely know.
Okay. It's not going to be a pickup truck. Those are all the American market pickup trucks have changed. Unless it's a Titan.
They have changed, but they also still sell a classic version of their trucks. I don't know if you knew that.
The Ram Classic.
Ram 1500 Classic hasn't been changed in 2008.
And that was number 3?
You could still buy that. That was number 3. For all the parts that matter, the same truck you bought in 2008.
Wow.
2009.
Of course, there's a lot of Stellantis products on here. Unchanged for forever.
That's it for Stellantis.
Oh my gosh. The Charger and Challenger.
No, those ended in 23. There's still a lot of them for sale.
Okay, yeah.
But they ended production in 23. There is a vehicle on here. The number 1 vehicle is mostly used for fleet, but it doesn't have to be. You can just buy it.
Oh, is it the Mercedes Sprinter?
You're getting close. We used to own this car.
Chevy Express.
Chevy Express.
The Chevy Express. Yeah, because that's been unchanged for a long time.
The Chevy Express has been on the same generation since 1995.
Whoa!
Same chassis.
Oh, yeah, GTR. 4Runner 09, yeah. QX80. I was going to say the QX80, but they revamped it.
They mildly changed it and changed the name, but it's the same car.
Okay. Outlander Sport. Yeah, that's an old one.
Model S, 2012.
Yeah. Raj and Jaguar F-Type. I didn't realize the F-Type was that old. I mean, I knew it came out in 2014, but
they've refreshed it a little bit, but not substantially.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chevy Express.
Go get a 2015 F-Type with not many miles on it and a V8. Oh, that's a cool car.
Well, you can. We'll talk more about Jaguar, but...
Yeah, oh gosh.
Chevy Express, and they still don't plan to replace it till 2026, which means next year it will have been 30 years.
30 years without any major change.
I mean, they've changed the drivetrain, different engines, transmissions.
Did you hear about the U-Haul truck scams that were going on? People will rent like Chevy Express U-Haul vans and take the big engine out of it and put it in their own car and
You told me about that. Yeah.
their smaller engine in the Chevy and then just drive it back. And like, I don't know, it has an engine light on.
Yeah. Chevy still considers it the same generation.
Wow.
The one you buy today looks identical to the one we had in 2003.
Yeah.
Doesn't look any different.
I almost bought one a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It was parked on the side of the road outside my neighborhood. And they had, just a for sale sign on it. And I called them because it was a 2500 class with a V8. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I'd love to like turn this into like a camper van or something. I called up. It's another foster family. And they've got a bunch of foster kids. And they're like, we don't have any other way to get around. The thing won't shift into park. And we don't know what's wrong with it. We got a quote. They said it's going to be a whole transmission replacement. We can afford a car payment, but we can't afford $6,000 for transmission repair or whatever. And I'm thinking, heck, I bet I can get this thing running for a $20 bill in an afternoon in the sun. I bet I can probably buy this thing from them for dirt cheap, fix it, sell it for 10 grand profit by next weekend. Then I found out like it's another foster family. And I'm like, you know what? And it was Thanksgiving Day. And I'm like, hey, my family hasn't come over yet. I'm the guy who's interested in your van. Can I just pop over there real quick and you just let me look at it? And then we were over there for maybe 30 minutes and I fixed it and it shifted into park and it drove. And
what was wrong with it?
They had a friend of a friend do some kind of adjustment on their parking brake or whatever. And there's a cable that runs next to the parking brake, which is a cable that connects from the shifter to the transmission. And they had disconnected it thinking it was something to do with the parking brake and then just didn't quite put it back together right. So just with the multi-tool I had in my pocket, I like disconnected it, had the guy like move it to where I had an extra slack, put it back together. Took a couple of tries, but it worked fine. And he was like blown away. He was like, oh my gosh, we have a way to transport all of our kits again. Thank you, whatever. And I was like, on the inside, I was like kind of kicking myself. I was like, I could have almost made like 10 grand. It wouldn't even cost me $20 to fix this car. But I was like, you know what? They needed it, like whatever. And I was like, tell you what, if you guys ever sell it in the future, just toss me a few $100 and we'll call it even. That's
fair. You saved them a ton of money.
Yeah, that was Thanksgiving, and they apparently sold it for way more than they were going to sell it to me for like $2,000. Apparently, they sold it for way more around Christmas, and they gave me $500 in a Christmas card.
That's nice.
Yeah. So anyway, I almost bought a Chevy Express 2500 recently.
Well, that's pretty cool. It's a nice story.
Yeah.
Moral of the story: don't do the right thing.
Yeah. $500 isn't $10,000. Those kids can walk.
Yeah. All right, you're gonna like this one. Order these 5 things
by weight.
By weight.
Is there gonna be a moon on here? Dodge Charger, BMW M5, Cadillac Escalade, F-150 Raptor, and Bull White.
Largest species of rhino on Earth.
Okay.
Adult male rhino.
Okay, so an Escalade.
Not the ESV.
Not the ESV. Because the ESV is going to be like a GWVR of like 8,400 pounds.
It's also the 2024. 2025 gets a little bit of a refresh. Weighs more.
The M5 is 5,300 pounds. 380 or something. The Dodge Charger is 5,800 pounds. 5858 according to their website. The F-150 Raptor has an aluminum body.
Raptor R.
Raptor R.
With a supercharged V8 up front.
I'm guessing that's still under 5,800 pounds. I have no idea how much a white rhino weighs.
And it's variable. This is kind of the average weight. A heavier one could outweigh everything on this list.
I'm going to say the heaviest thing on this list is a Dodge Charger. No.
Heaviest thing on this list is the Raptor R.
Oh, whoa.
About 100 pounds.
Okay, and then it's the Charger, then it's the Escalade, then it's the BMW, then it's the white rhino.
Charger, Escalade,
BMW White Rhino.
You got it.
Yep.
Exactly. Nothing on this list is light, by the way.
No. Isn't that crazy? An Escalade is lighter than a 2-door.
I mean, they're
car.
the same weight, but still, they shouldn't even be near each other.
No, in fact, why does anything weigh 3 tons that's on the road?
Batteries, wiring. You don't know. Wire is heavy, very heavy. And safety.
Yeah. So Dad and I were talking this morning about the new Hummer and how the battery weighs as much as a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
And if you took that Honda Civic out, it would still weigh as much as Tisha's Tesla and my Miata. So without the Honda Civic worth of weight,
it's a Civic, Miata, and a Tesla Model 3
put together.
Weigh as much as a.
It's actually a bit more than that, but yeah.
That's wild.
Isn't that stupid? Like, why?
Standard Raptor is lighter than the Charger. The Raptor R is heavier.
Yeah. I imagine that's all in engine and suspension.
Supercharged V8s are not particularly light.
That's so stupid, though. Why is a 2-door vehicle on that list?
Someone showed a list that was like the weight increase or even decrease year over year for the M5. And it's like the biggest one's like 150, 200 pounds heavier. But then like the next year it'll lose like 11 pounds or something. And then for this newest one, it ups like 1,200 pounds.
Is it 1,200? I thought it was 800.
Like 1,000 pounds. Yeah.
Somewhere in that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm curious. I'm really curious what the weight's going to be on the Scat Pack.
Oh, in the Throttle House video that they did on the Charger, they said it's going to be 4,800 pounds. Exactly what I said.
Nice.
Exactly what I said. This will be 1,000 pounds lighter.
I didn't know they said that.
Nailed it on my prediction that it was going to be 4,800 pounds.
Still 300 or 400 pounds over the last generation.
Mm-hmm. No, the last one was 4,350 or something. So almost 500 pounds more.
Which is already how much heavier the Challenger was than the Mustang.
Right. The execs over at Ford said the GTD was supposed to go to Europe and teach them what performance is. Like basically beat them on their own home turf. And so far it's doing exactly that.
Oh yeah, with the Nürburgring?
Yeah. They're
like sub 7 minutes or something?
Yeah, it's wild. That thing is crazy.
Yeah. Someone is making GTD style fascias for Mustangs, and Ford's lawyers are not happy.
Yeah, I imagine.
I mean, you can spend $5,000 on body kits or
$500,000 on a Ford GTD. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bit of a business opportunity there.
Yeah.
That Ford's not happy about.
Okay, what do we got?
Which automotive invention came first? Disc brakes, supercharged engines, electric cars, fuel injection, or automatic transmission?
Electric car.
Okay, which one came second?
Okay. The one that came second is the supercharged engine.
Okay, which one came third?
The third one would be automatic transmission.
Nope.
Disc brakes?
Disc brakes.
Huh.
1902.
And then automatic transmission, then fuel injection.
Very good. Wow, you crushed it.
Yeah.
Dang. I was blown away. Electric car in 1881?
Yeah.
I mean, when you think electric
I knew it was
car,
1880s.
It was basically a tricycle.
Yeah, it's not a VU. It's not a mode of mass transportation.
It wasn't patented. It was made by a Frenchman.
Much closer to a small golf cart with 3 wheels.
Electric tricycle. It was successfully tested, but not patented. But it was recognized by most to be the first electric car. And there were some more contemporary style electric cars later, but...
Okay, the fact that you have one of these things on this list means you're going to do really well in my...
Really?
Yeah.
Some of these were invented long before, but I did, not the patented date, but like when it was confirmed, like tested date, and its first application in a car. They had disc brakes earlier than that, but not for use in a car, like caliper style brakes. They had supercharged engines earlier than that, but not in vehicles. And fuel injection, they actually had...
They had they had mechanical fuel injection really early.
Yeah.
But electronic fuel injection, no.
It was in 1891 the first fuel injected engine came about, but not in a vehicle until 1950.
But yeah, some companies were testing out mechanical fuel injection, like Porsche and... No, not Porsche, Mercedes. All right, what do you got next?
Do you know who made the first supercharged engine?
Rolls-Royce?
The Roots brothers.
Oh, of course. I should have known that. Roots supercharger, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. When was first film?
When was electronic fuel injection first available at a production car, and what company produced it? Produced the vehicle it was in?
Okay, man. I think I actually read that as recently as today.
You have a multiple choice on the next page if you can get it.
Electronic fuel injection really got it in its stride in like the late 80s, early 90s, mid 80s maybe. It would.
If you're not sure, just go to the next one and use your multiple choice.
I was thinking like mid or early 70s, but I could be surprised, and it may be sooner.
But look at the group. Look at the manufacturer too. The first in a production vehicle. In fact, they introduced it in 4 production vehicles that year.
Mercedes-Benz doesn't get enough credit for as many discovery
innovations,
new innovations they put.
I mean, I had this as one of my trivia things. Remember all the things that were introduced.
There's an S-Class, right? Mm-hmm. So, knowing that, I'm gonna guess Mercedes.
Nope. 1958 Chrysler Group.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was the last one I was thinking.
Yeah, I know. Wow. One is the earliest.
How did they do electronic fuel injection?
Because as it is now, a lot of these features are not done by the company; they're done by the parts manufacturers.
Mm-hmm. And they license it, or
a company called Bistex, something like that, Bitex, whatever it was. And it was used in these 1958 Chryslers, like the D100, like old vehicles. There's 4 or 5 vehicles that came out that year with this on it. All at the same time. They weren't going to like test it on one. They just went with all in. And almost to a car, they were changed back to 4 barrels. Because it was a complete disaster. They continually failed. It was horrible.
Wow.
Every single one of them failed. And then it was such a failure that the company that designed it gave up on the idea entirely.
Wow.
And then Bosch, who you might know works very closely with Mercedes-Benz, bought it and called it the D-Jetronic system and used it for Mercedes vehicles. And then that was upgraded to the J-Jetronic, K-Jetronic, all those.
Wow. Chrysler was the last one I would have thought.
I know, and it was the earliest. Did you write that one off immediately? Go like,
yeah.
BS. It's not 19.
I thought that was first way too early.
Way too early, and
which evidently it was.
Yeah, heck no. So yeah, Bosch purchased the technology, made it work as the Germans tend to do, and then they were the only game in town for EFI for a very long time. So all the rest of that was just nonsense. It was 1958 Chrysler Group.
Wow. That's cool. Discussion segments.
Who's going first?
I think you are.
All right.
So this is your new segment, Edison Motors.
Okay. So I've actually gotten deep in this rabbit hole. So you introduced me to Edison Motors the other day, and I've watched a lot of their content and I've looked into what they're doing, and it's super exciting. Mm-hmm. It's exactly up my alley. You know how much.
That's why I brought it up.
You know how much this extended range EV thing it tickles my fancy because it just is the greatest stuff.
Real quick, in 30 seconds, what's different about that than like a hybrid car?
Gas vehicle, gas engine mechanically runs the wheels. Mm-hmm. Electric vehicle, electric motor and batteries run the wheels.
And a hybrid
has both an electric motor and a gas engine, both run the wheels. And they just take turns in whatever the manufacturer thinks is the most fuel efficient pattern. Okay. An EREV, an extended range electric vehicle, has a power plant as a generator. It has batteries to store the energy as needed, and it has an electric motor. It uses electric drive and all the benefits of electric drive with the range and the total lack of range anxiety of having an onboard generator.
Now the generator runs off diesel or gasoline?
It can be diesel, gasoline, hydrogen. It could be anything that it could be steam powered.
Anything that can create electricity.
Anything that could create electricity, this can run on.
So it's like having an electric car with a built-in gas station.
Exactly. Except that you might think, oh, we're changing it to electricity and then changing it to mechanical power. Are we losing? But actually, no, especially in an application that Edison Motors is working in, which is semi-trucks. These two guys, they're logging guys. They made their money in logging, and they are blue-collar dudes. Generally speaking, they're totally broke, but they're running this company on fumes, essentially, to slowly build the next generation of logging trucks. Funnily enough, they haven't sold a single logging truck to anybody. But construction companies are knocking down their door to go, hey, we can use this for our application. For example, concrete pouring trucks. There's a noise ordinance because they're loud. They can't be pouring concrete in residential areas or anywhere within like a certain city limit between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. That means that this truck is only useful for half the time. So to make the same revenue, you got to buy twice as many trucks because you can't do it at night. Well, if you can run the entire thing on electricity, and then once you leave city limits, turn on the diesel generator and charge up those batteries, then you can run, all of a sudden the same truck has twice the value.
Yeah.
But they sure as heck don't cost twice as much to build. Where they're at now, they made 10 different prototypes, and they produced one, and they produced like a conversion on an old truck, and then they produced this.
I was going to ask, do they build the trucks from the ground up, or do they convert existing trucks to run on electricity?
Both.
Okay.
Both. They are actually designing a conversion kit that you can install yourself in your own truck. They have one for Dodge Rams that they're designing.
Oh, in commercial trucks or in like...
This or civilian size. They actually have a new drive unit that they designed this year for smaller trucks. Anyway, this is super cool because the reason they thought it was going to be so effective for logging trucks is because you're going uphill generally. You're going up into mountains. You're cutting down all the logs and bringing them back. How much does a regular semi tow? Do you know? Fully loaded, they'd call it 20,000 pounds.
I was about to ask. Yeah.
Do you know how much average load for a logging truck is?
100,000 pounds?
120 to 150,000 pounds.
Yeah.
They're no joke. They are the most stressed vehicle. A regular transportation semi could cost you $250,000. One of these that's for logging is going to cost you $650,000, $700,000. So they're a serious of 2.5 times the price for still one single truck. You can't do two routes at the same time, but it does cost you twice as much. Well, they thought, why don't we make these trucks do the job that we do every day better than the trucks that do it now? I went so far down the rabbit hole on this. I really encourage anyone who's even mildly interested to go watch Still to Be Determined, which is a podcast focused on new technologies and advancing battery, electric, all this stuff. And they also they do all kinds of stuff with anything basically new or cutting edge. And I'm really interested in that. And they happened to interview the guys about Edison Motors 4 days ago. Their video came out. So it was really cool. The idea is you're going uphill with an empty trailer. You're coming downhill with 150,000 pounds, so 75 tons of material behind you. You are begging to use regenerative braking. The regenerative braking system can keep the batteries effectively full.
Because you're using the weight of the load to recharge
the batteries. Because you're going up empty and coming down full. So they're thinking this is perfect, right? Turns out nobody with a logging company has purchased one of these yet. They have an order in from one.
Now that's assuming where you're getting the logs from is uphill from where they need to be delivered.
They almost always are.
Okay.
They're getting somewhere between 30 and 40% fuel savings on a given route. And even more if they're coming.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Especially when companies are trying to save 2, 3, 5% at most.
And they constantly have people just harping on them about how stupid this design looks. That it's center cab. They've revamped. This is their first full prototype ground up.
It's meant to be modular and easily fixable and replaceable.
Yes. So that's what I was getting at earlier about off-the-shelf parts. They design this to use as many off-the-shelf and available parts as possible. They don't design anything in-house. If they can make it so that somebody can go into an auto parts shop and buy something to replace it, they will. They have a video where they talk about this stupid like little valve body that is used for some component in the air compressor system, and it's like molded or 3D printed plastic with like multiple tubes going through it. And he's like, let me show you what we did. And it's just a regular manifold with like different levers to do the exact same job. Now, this is lighter. It's more compact. It's also $4,000 or something. And this thing, he's like, I built this out of plumbing equipment for like $40. Any part of this is easy to get to.
If it breaks, you don't have to wait however long to get a new one. You can, if you needed to, go to the hardware store and replace parts.
He said, what do you do if you have 150,000 pounds behind you and something on your truck breaks and you have to make an emergency stop and fix something and you are hours from anywhere? You can keep some spare parts on hand, but you can't keep 1,000 bespoke units of different weirdly shaped stupid valves in your truck. You can keep a handful of components that might be usable in multiple spots in your truck. And that's way better for you and way better for the environment to not have all of these different production companies all making a million different bespoke parts that cost so much money and paying someone ungodly sums to actually do the repair because it's so deeply buried somewhere in the truck that you can't even get to it. He said, this same component is right here at my feet. There's no paneling covering this. I can just get in here, stand on the side of the truck, take it out. I can have this job done in 10 minutes. He's like, every component of this truck is designed to be done quickly by yourself if you need to do it in an emergency and cheaply. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is mind-blowing because not only do they have a really, really cool drive system, which, by the way, I learned today watching that interview. In 1908, they went to diesel this exact same power plant, a diesel generator, electric power plant on cargo trains in a lot of places. And then from then it's been even more popularized. This is not new, right? But they're using train motors. So these things are, even for a semi, way overpowered. He said they could turn the tires to smoke in seconds if they wanted to. They throttle them way down to use the motors.
They're probably really efficient when they're throttled down.
Yeah, but he said that the motors that they're using, because they have no space constraint like a passenger car, they can just put train motors on.
It does kind of look like a train.
Yeah, he said we're basically building diesel electric trains on rubber wheels, and we're building them with
trains get insane efficiency.
They can move 1 million tons on 1 single gallon of gas 1 mile. 1 million pounds. Sorry, 1 million pounds 1 mile on 1 gallon of gas, which is crazy efficient.
A lot of that has to do with the rolling resistance as well.
Yeah,
you're just not going to match that.
Yeah,
at least the drivetrain.
Mm-hmm. But to imagine you pitch to someone, I've got a truck to sell you. It's a fully electric truck. You basically have to make a ton of sacrifices. You're going to have to buy 2 of them to get the same amount of work done as your current truck. They also cost a lot more than your current truck. Would you like to spend $1.5 million, or actually $1.8 million on my EV solution? Or would you spend $600,000 on a gas solution? You're not going to pick the EV. What if you said you could spend $800,000 on this diesel electric solution, and it will do more than your current vehicle does, and it will do it with 30% less fuel? That's an actual usable proposition. Mm-hmm. So I encourage people to look into it. It's really exciting. They're making practical choices all the way through. They don't care what it looks like. They think it looks great, but they don't care.
It's all about practicality.
Mm-hmm. Function before form, all the way. And I'm here for it. It's awesome.
That's really cool. Even like the square windows. He went on a whole tangent about how, the rounded windshield's a little bit more aerodynamic. But
yeah, if you go to the next one, I have some points about that. So, they chose to do all flat glass because when you're on a logging road, you get rock chips. Mm-hmm. Of course you do. You get branches and crap breaking your window. And if you don't have to wait 6 weeks for someone to show up from some dealership 300 miles away with a specially formed piece, you can just go to the hardware store and get a flat piece of glass to fill it for right now until you get like a safety glass, right? You can just fix it right now.
Well, even the correct glass is going to be significantly cheaper because it's just a rectangle of some dimension. It doesn't need to be rounded in a certain way where you can only buy it from one manufacturer.
Yes, where you can source these from a lot of places, and that drops the price. I covered that they don't want to use bespoke components. Yeah, they keep operational costs down. That's one of their big pitches, is that these trucks need to be serviced on a regular basis. And if you have a truck that can be serviced in a quarter of the time, that means it's a quarter of the cost to service it. So you're saving 30% on fuel. You're probably saving a huge, maybe 30%, maybe 50% on repair costs. Especially if you can just fix it yourself, you're saving 90% on repair costs. You have this same truck that's saving someone on gas, they're saving someone on operational costs, they're saving someone on repairs, and they can tow more. And because it's an electric drive, they actually are rated. Electric drive trucks have a higher rating. They can legally carry more because they don't, the Canadian government, and it's actually the same in the US as well, Canadian and American governments don't want to discourage people from using the electric semis because the electric semi themselves way more, and that takes up some of your gross capacity. So they say whatever the average distance is in weight between electric and gas drive, we're going to say like, okay, it's at 8,000 pounds, whatever it is, right? We're going to add that on top of your total capacity. Well, this thing actually weighs the same or less than a gas powered one.
Because the battery's small.
Because the battery's tiny. It's like smaller than a Model S.
But it doesn't need to be because it stays right in its perfect efficiency range.
Exactly.
So it's being constantly recharged.
Exactly.
Either by regen or by the diesel.
It's like 100 kilowatt hours, and a Model S is 110. Yeah.
I mean, that's still a good size, but that's small for a semi-truck.
For a semi-truck. Like the Tesla semi-truck is supposed to have like 650 kilowatt hours.
Which still doesn't seem like
Every
enough.
100 kilowatt hours is approximately 1,400 pounds in weight. So you're talking 8,400 pounds in just batteries, potentially more. That means that the same truck that now weighs the same or less as a gas truck now is rated to tow even more. So you can tow more material on every load. You can make more money on every run. You spend less money on every run. So the idea originally was to retrofit logging trucks. They decided to make bespoke trucks as well. And funnily enough, they got connected with the Canadian government's Green Party, which you might think the Green Party and logging truckers are not going to be on the same page about anything. Yeah. But the problem was that they give these rebates to new trucks, $150,000 back if you buy a new EV truck. If you retrofit one with an EV conversion, you don't get any of that. So it ends up being that their EV conversion will cost more than buying a new one. So they managed to get on the same page.
Which is more wasteful.
Yeah, they managed to talk into one of the heads of the Green Party in Canada, and now they're introducing legislation to change that so that now the logging guys and the Green Party people are on the same page about changing this legislation to include retrofits. He's like, if there's any other proof that we're in a simulation, I don't know what it is, because I was never going to be on the same page with the Green Party, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, even though my passion is for saving the environment and I love the wilderness and it's where I've lived my whole life, but I was never going to be on the same page as a Green Party person.
Yeah. So, wow. That's really cool. All right. Here's a story I found interesting. I got actually a couple Chrysler stories.
Okay, hit me.
So, there's rumors the V8 Dodge Charger is dead, but may not be completely dead.
Dead.
So the SolarLarge platform can support both EV and ICE platforms. There were these spy photos that came out a few months ago, early in production of the production version of the Charger, where it has very clearly room for an engine and transmission tunnel. At the time, we didn't know the Scat Pack was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry,
Six pack
was coming. We now know, okay, there's this inline 6-cylinder engine that's going to go in there. That kind of resolved that. Like, okay, no, they're not going to secretly be making a Hemi version. So they do have an engine and transmission that's going to be going in the Charger. Right now, the Daytona versions are electric, but they're going to come out with the 6-pack, which uses their Hurricane inline 6 standard output in high output configurations. Decently powerful. They're meant to be RT like 5.7 and 6.4 liter Hemi replacements. They make more power.
They're those plus 20 horsepower.
And they're more efficient and lighter. Well, I don't know if the turbos of that. Yeah, they have to be lighter. Yeah. Especially lighter than the...
Because they're aluminum body.
Yeah.
Aluminum block.
So people have been thinking, well, hey, there's room for an engine. There's room for an inline 6-cylinder with turbos. Probably room for a Hemi. And Dodge still sells Hemis.
Hemi crate engines.
Crate engines on their website. Even if they didn't, you got tens of thousands of Chargers and Challengers and junkyards. You're never going to run out of Hemi engines, right?
Gen 3 Eagle 5.7s, yeah.
Yeah. But they still sell them. Like, you can buy them directly from, even all the way up to like Hellcat, Red Eyes, you can buy them. So some people are like, hey, I wonder how easy it's going to be to put those in this new Charger. Apparently, it's actually going to be really easy.
Okay.
Like, intentionally easy.
Oh, okay.
Recently on Motor Trend, one David Freiberger
really
made an interesting remark in a video. Motor Trend came out with like a ode to the V8 kind of V8 fanboy video, 45 minutes, something like that. In the middle of it, kind of a remark that maybe if you're not paying attention, you don't really notice. He said, and this is a direct quote, "The Hemi, the loss of the Hellcat is a giant blow. That said, I wouldn't count Dodge out. The new Charger EV, you can remove the batteries and a V8 with rear-wheel drive transmission bolts into the frame by design."
Really?
So it's almost as if, as they're making the Charger...
Why would he know, though? Why would he know?
David Freiberger, I imagine, has a lot of connections.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around the block.
I imagine he knows people. Not even knows people who knows people. He probably has Tim Kanuskis' phone number in his phone. Like, he's well integrated.
Motor Trend has been around for a long time, and he's been with Motor Trend a very long time.
Yeah. But he doesn't strike me as someone who would just say something like that. It wasn't speculation. He was saying, you can just bolt these things right in.
Yeah. That coming from him, it
means something.
From somebody who would and has highly modified things to make stuff fit.
Right. Now, maybe for him, bolts right in means something different to you and I.
Yeah, maybe bolts right in is like 10 hours of fabrication work in this book. Yeah.
But from the context, it sounds like it was intentional. Like they didn't go out of their way. If anything, they made it somewhat straightforward to do a swap. If that's true, it's only a matter of time and not very long before performance houses start doing Hemi swaps and stuff.
Think of all, this is where I push back on that. Think of all the hate that they've gotten for dropping the V8. Think of all the bad publicity for going EV, and then why you wouldn't even mention the 6-pack initially. Like you would, it's so dumb that they went, it's all electric, and then maybe we'll do gas. And then later on, they're like, no, we'll do gas, but we promise. They should have said, it's going to be gas, you're going to have an electric option.
They didn't know they were going to do gas at the time. They thought of it. When it was announced a year before these photos were taken, at least. I think at the time when it was announced, it probably was going to be only electric.
Okay.
I think the reaction to that first, like way back in 2021 or whatever it was, the reaction to that first one, and knowing the Solar Large could accommodate an ICE platform and they had those Hurricane engines coming out, I imagine they probably said, hey, we should probably make an ICE version of this. That's my speculation.
Okay. But they would have had to go pretty early on in this design process to make sure Hemi would bolt right in. And if that was the case, would they not be shouting that from the rooftops every day? You can absolutely swap a V8. In fact, we'll sell you one on our website.
Do you know what this seems like? I get what you're saying. I get the impression, this is only my speculation, this sounds like some under the radar, we don't want the pencil pushers higher up in Stellantis to know, but secretly, these holes in the frame here will actually be perfect locations to put on engine mounts for a Hemi engine.
You're saying that they slipped design features past?
Not even features, just didn't make it more difficult than it had to be. There's a lot of things you could have done to make it difficult to put a Hemi engine in there that they maybe or maybe not intentionally chose not to do.
But if he says it bolts right in, that sounds like you bolt it right in.
Yeah. But again, for David Freiberger, that could mean something different to you and I.
Yeah, he's extremely competent at making crap work.
Anything can bolt right into anything for him.
Yeah.
But if it's even like possible, and it sounds more than possible, it sounds like it's going to be fairly straightforward. How much money will performance houses need to make before Dodge decides we want some of that money? None. They're done.
They're done because unless something changes with the Trump administration and reducing the fees they have to pay for not having hit certain requirements for fuel efficiency. The prices of Chargers and Challengers have been skyrocketing the last few years.
Yeah, but these aren't exactly cheap.
No, but what I mean to say is that they're skyrocketing because
of those fees.
Of fees they have to pay to the EPA. Those regulations might be loosened. Who knows?
Maybe.
I have no idea what's going on in the next few years. But unless something changes, they're not going with a V8 again because they spent all of their time and money,
R&D,
and honestly, they spent their
goodwill.
They spent their goodwill with their customers to go here.
To be like, these are the last Hemi V8s, so you're going to want to spend 20, 30 grand over sticker for a scat pack because this is the last one.
This is the last. It literally says last call on it. And then to reintroduce the V8. I mean,
they did the same thing with the Durango, although that was much smaller scale. Hellcat Durango, I mean, how many of those are there? They're not that many. There are hundreds of thousands.
Because they had 2020 and then they didn't 2021 and then they had it back in 22 and 23, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they did the same thing with the
but then there were customers that sued them.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we bought this 10, 20 grand over sticker because you told us it was the last one, you know.
Yeah, and then it was the same with the Demon.
Yeah.
Demon is supposed to be a one-off, and then the Demon 170 comes out.
They're like, we're not going to make anything with more power than this. And then the Super Stock made like one less horsepower than the Demon or something on paper.
Yeah.
Then they're like, yeah, whatever. It's still a Demon.
Yeah.
So technically nothing makes more power than the Demon.
You know what they did for Demon owners, right?
Pre-existing?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, they offered, it was something like for $1, they would put all the Demon 170 components in their Demon.
I mean.
That's That's a pretty good compromise.
They didn't have to do
But
that.
yeah, you think maybe they didn't want a repeat of the Dodge Durango fiasco?
This would be much larger scale if they did decide to do it. So what they're doing is I'm thinking Tim Kuniskis was there throughout the entire development of this car.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Ralph Gilles, car guys. They oversaw this entire thing. I think if anyone was going to slide something in to make it easy to do a Hemi swap, I think it might be those two guys. But
I mean, maybe, but again.
But then it's not Dodge doing it. It's like, if you want to buy one of our great engines and throw it in there, we're not going to stop you.
Exactly, because then it doesn't have to pass emissions.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, I think they would be shouting it from the rooftops. Paint me as skeptical.
I think if they brought too much attention to it, someone higher up would do something about it.
Would have put the kibosh on it?
Yeah, that's my thinking.
You think someone would have intentionally kneecapped that idea?
I think so. Someone high up in Chrysler, in Stellantis.
There's a lot of people high up in Stellantis that deeply dislike the
V8.
The fan base of Dodge.
They just don't understand the American market at all.
Well, there are people that deeply dislike the fan base of Dodge.
So speaking of that, there is a leadership shuffle in Stellantis. So the CEO, Carlos Tavares, I think that's how you pronounce it. Tavares, he resigned abruptly.
Yeah.
Anonymous sources said that this may not be, he's over Fiat, he's over, Dodge is a small part of his bigger portfolio. So I don't know that he cares a ton about specifically what's going on in Dodge, but somebody high up in Dodge who has a relationship with this person, has interacted with them in meetings, says Carlos did not want the V8 happening anymore. There was plans for a more efficient Hemi, like another new generation Hemi.
Really?
But early on, he did not want to do anything with that. He said we need to be greener, which you're just not going to have green and Hemi in the same sentence.
No.
So he basically made it all but impossible to continue with the Hemi. Now, again, he's got bigger fish to fry than just Dodge. So his leaving, I don't think is anything specifically to do with Dodge. I mean, Dodge is a part of it. But needless to say, there's a lot of more performance-oriented people.
Enthusiasts
that are happy to see him gone. One, I'm assuming, is Tim Kuniskis, who a week after Carlos announced his registration, decided he wants to come back. So he's now the CEO of Ram. He was the CEO of Ram and Dodge. And he left, and Matt McClear became CEO of Dodge, and Chris Fuel, the woman you were just talking about, was kind of the interim CEO of Ram and Chrysler. She's still CEO of Chrysler, but now she's lead of Alfa Romeo North America. So she moved over.
So she's doing nothing. Alfa Romeo North
Tim
America. Tim
Kuniskis is back at Ram. He's not CEO of Dodge anymore.
He's in the ballpark.
He's in a lot of the same meetings.
Mm-hmm.
When asked about his decision to return, Tim said, "I missed the fight." So I think, what does that mean? It's uncertain, but if there were...
Does that mean he was gone during a fight, or does that mean he enjoyed the fight? Well,
he enjoyed the fight, I think.
Okay.
And maybe it's just completely coincidental. This is just my speculation. I see someone like Tim Kuniskis. Look at this picture here. What else do you need to see the difference between these two people, right? My speculation, I don't think these two types of people get along.
No.
I think they have very different visions.
I think you're right.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that this guy steps down and this guy comes back a week later.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So, and the fact that a Hemi engine could bolt right in, if there were to be ever a chance at a V8 Ram Dodge resurgence, this would be the perfect storm of things that would need to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this guy would need to go away and this guy would need to come back.
Yeah.
Which is what's happened. All right, which leads us into our hot takes. Now, on the heels of that...
You have a hot take?
Yes.
Okay. What's your hot take?
As much as I think it'd be cool if they brought back the Hemi, the Hemi wasn't competitive. And it needed a major overhaul.
That's true. It weighed too much, and it didn't produce as much power as
anything.
As competitors, yeah.
Especially now.
It was great in 2009.
15 years ago now. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I understand if they knew the Charger and Challenger with V8s were going to be no more after 2023. I understand we'll just make a bunch of special editions instead of doing the millions of dollars of research into creating a new engine.
Especially to try to make a Hemi more efficient, which they already are trying with the 2 spark plugs per cylinder, the VVT system, the cylinder shutoff. Like,
you're not really getting any more.
You're squeezing blood from a rock. It's not going to happen.
So I understand why they didn't. If they knew the end was coming, let's just try to keep these engines going as long as we can. And they did good. The sales kept going up for their Hemi. Like, instead of making it more fuel efficient, what if we just made it make more power?
Yeah, which we can't do that, but we sure can make it more.
We can squeeze more power out of it.
Yeah.
We can't squeeze any more miles per gallon out of it. We can squeeze more power out of it.
Yeah.
Needless to say, though, if the Hemi ever did make any type of return, or not even a Hemi, but just a V8, it would need to be
monstrous.
A huge change from their current Eagle and 6.4 and 5.7 liter engines. As much as I love them, they're great engines.
They're cool.
Cool engines. They just can't compete. Like the new Mustang Dark Horse. Speaking of Mustangs, you know what's wild? The EcoBoost base rental car Mustang will do 0 to 60 in 4.5, which is faster than an RT and 10 grand less expensive.
Yeah.
That is not a winning combination.
Yeah.
Now, I understand people buy Challengers and Mustangs for different reasons, but not everyone.
Mm-hmm. Challengers are purchased because of how they look.
To an extent, until you get beat by a rental car Mustang.
Until you get beat by a 4-cylinder Mustang, yeah.
Or beat by
a Hyundai Elantra N.
Elantra N.
Yeah.
For less money, and you're not drowning in gas station receipts.
Yeah.
Because you have to stop at every gas station you see.
Mm-hmm.
That Mustang can get 32 miles a gallon and does 0 to 60 in 4.5 for $32,000.
It's an impressive thing.
And they throw the 5.7 into that 5,000 pound chassis. It's not getting.
Yeah.
It's not even going to make these numbers.
No.
So as much as I would love to see Hemi make a return, the Hemis that are leaving, I don't think those are coming back.
No, it would have to be
something completely ground up new.
Or they put Hemi head, or they Magnum. They do what they did to the 318 to the Hurricane, and put Magnum heads, but call it like Hemi heads on the straight 6, so it would be a straight 6 Hemi.
Yeah, but that's like
call it the Hemi Cane.
People want a V8 though.
Yeah,
they want a V8
Hemi Cane instead of Hurricane.
Hermes
engine. Yeah. When you line it up like that, it's embarrassing.
They're cool. Love the way they sound, but by today's standards, they are not. Especially when
23 to 32 MPG.
Yeah. And 10 grand less. And you get faster. That's the thing, is when your Challenger gets beat by rental cars and whatever the newest EV is, that's not even meant to be a performance car, but it still can bang off at a sub 5 seconds 0 to 60.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it was when I raced you in our Tesla. We have the slowest Tesla that you can purchase.
And I had a
2-wheel drive
Charger RT with 380 horsepower,
and I had 300 horsepower, electric horsepower. So area under the curve was probably similar. But with the advanced traction control that it has,
power just gets straight to the ground.
Yeah. I left like you were standing still.
My point is, as much as I'd love to see it, they can't put those Hemis in this new chassis. It is not even going to be remotely competitive.
Yeah. And that's why you don't see a Challenger racing series, right?
I mean, that's not what they're made for, really. They're made for long distance cruising and looking cool.
Yeah, but
still, you need some amount of performance.
Mm-hmm. Looking at how much something weighs from the factory, you can only reduce so much. They have to do it from the ground up if they want to have it lighter, and you might strip out everything.
The stereo.
I would guess that unpainted chassis weighs the same as my Miata is done.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. If you don't design it to be lightweight from the ground up, it's not going to be.
Videos have come out in the last week. Throttle House and a bunch of others. They tested the new Charger, the 2-door. And you put it next to the Challenger, and it's big next to the Challenger.
It's huge, yeah.
And the Challenger is not a tiny car.
No. It drives bigger than it is, though.
The Challenger dwarfs the Camaro and the Mustang, and then this new Charger dwarfs the Challenger.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my point is they can't put those old engines in that thing. I think this is just your hot take, and then we're done. So
Yeah. We should shun people who stance their cars.
all right.
Cold take.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on to the next picture.
Yes. Okay. They're part of the car community.
And we should be sad about that. Yeah. Yeah. But it does tell you who not to talk to.
You want some negative camber, though.
Somewhere between 0 and 1 degree. That's like 30 degrees. Have you ever tried to stop on ice when you have no traction?
Well, because you have such a tiny contact patch.
Yes, you have the contact patch of
A rollerblade.
like a road bike. Yeah, a road bicycle.
Yeah.
You have 4 wheels instead of 2. So you have basically twice the stopping power of a road bicycle and a vehicle in that case that weighs 3,400 pounds. Your stopping distance goes from 70 feet to 150 feet or whatever.
Because with ABS, you're traction limited.
Yeah.
So whatever your tires can stop you.
Yeah. So you will be skidding completely out of control. Not to mention you're braking your vehicle on every tiny bump. You also look like that.
And that's subjective. They like the way it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the way my car looks. It's not safe or fast or efficient.
Fair enough.
It's got
your car,
twice the stopping distance as a modern car.
Yeah, because it doesn't have ABS. But it was also built 50 years ago.
It's a time capsule
Yes.
of what it was 50 years ago. I didn't take something and then in your mind deliberately make it worse.
No. Objectively make it worse. It objectively has longer stopping distance. It objectively looks like that pile of shit.
That's subjective, though.
No, it actually does look like that.
It does, but some people like that.
Okay, they can be wrong. But the fact that you break your car over everything
Assuming they're not spilling parts and fluids out the bottom.
If you are sitting on the ground like this, if you hit a big enough pebble, you're going to be spilling parts and fluids. There is no avoiding it. And to the point that a lot of them have systems that raise and lower. I'm like, well, why not just drive around at the higher height then if you're going to raise and lower it all the time?
The Ford GT has that?
Yes, because it's a supercar. Because it is actually for performance that it is lower. Okay? This is so all of the other spoon lickers. I do that with my car. Are you stupid? Yeah, I'm stupid. Let's be stupid together. Yeah, it's just so that people with like a complete lack of a frontal cortex know who else doesn't have one, and then they can just go hang out together. So on one hand, we should absolutely shun them. On the other hand, I'm kind of glad it exists, so they can all sort of just be over there, and we don't have to talk to them.
It's like separate drinking fountains, like different bathrooms.
No. Not forced segregation by skin color, Mason.
I just have a skin color. Just if you roll up in a stance car, like,
well, yeah, I mean,
can't go to the same school as your kids or anything, right?
If my
you're thinking about it.
Let me put it this way: if the school failed them this badly, then I would be really sad that my kid was going to that school, because that would mean they know nothing.
If your son said, "Hey, I want to go to Timmy's house," and Timmy's dad rolls up in that,
I'd be like, I think we just gotta go home. No,
we're not doing that.
No, because I think being near them would make us actively dumber.
Is it only stance cars, or is it any modification that makes the car objectively worse?
Yeah, like wheel spacers.
You would put that in the same category.
Yeah, they're extremely dangerous,
and they don't look good.
Do you know what do you know what my kids call vehicles like this?
Are we going to be able to monetize this video?
It's a mama didn't hug me car, because they need attention from everybody else.
I mean, again, my mom hugged me. I still get attention from everyone when I drive my car.
Yeah, but that's not why you bought it.
Part of the reason why I bought it. It's maybe 5%.
Okay. Is there any you think that is not for attention?
That's probably 95%.
98.5% for attention.
I love when I'm in a gas station and someone comes up and asks about Lakuta and talks about it.
Because it has heritage and it's genuinely interesting. It's from a different time. Do you disagree? I think this is a pretty cold take.
Personally, I don't think it looks good. And I see no objective benefits to doing it.
Both of those things are true.
That's my personal opinion.
It is true that it doesn't look good.
To the extent it doesn't hurt anyone else, now you can make the case that the stopping distance is increased, but even things like lowriders, I don't particularly like the look, but it's, it's a vibrant culture, part of the car culture. If there's like circles that make up this big Venn diagram of, car people, we're not all into the same things.
Agreed.
I acknowledge that their circle exists and maybe it doesn't cross in mine at all. Like, I don't have that appreciation.
I have more appreciation for lowriders than I do for this, because when they're just driving around the road, aside from having a smaller tire, they're pretty much the same as a normal car. Whatever. You want to slam your car to the ground, ruin your tires, ruin your steering, ruin all of, like, the amount of arrogance that this takes also bothers me.
I agree with you. I don't think I feel as strongly as you do. I'd see that and I'd be like, that's pretty silly.
If a person driving that car came up to talk to me about my car, I'd probably turn around.
It wouldn't ruin my day.
I don't feel very strongly about it.
No, I could tell. The objective take, I totally agree with.
Yeah.
I don't think I still maintain that, as silly as I personally find it, I acknowledge it. There are enough people that do that and like it, and even if they don't do it, they still appreciate it. There's enough of them that they have their own circle in the car culture. Whether I like it or not, it exists.
Do you think seeing this car would give a police officer the right to arrest their mother for dropping them as a baby?
No.
Okay. It's
if that
clear
car
evidence.
was parked on my street, it would lower my property value a bit.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Some smoking was done in the womb.
I'm trying to spin this in a positive way. And be like, well, their mom did drugs. Merry Christmas?
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Or Happy New Year, or Happy Valentine's Day, whenever I get around to editing this. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.